Most people think artery problems show up with pain, a diagnosis, or a sudden scare. But if you're older, that's usually not how it begins. It often starts with something much quieter, how your body feels when you wake up. Legs that feel heavier than they should. A stiffness that lingers longer than it used to. Mornings that take more effort before you feel fully circulated. It's easy to brush this off as normal aging. Most people do. What's rarely explained is when this strain actually builds. Not during the day, but overnight when the body should be resting, repairing, and easing pressure on the blood vessels. Instead, circulation can slow, blood sugar can drift, and artery walls can stay tense longer than they should. And here's the part almost no one connects. What you eat in the evening quietly influences how that overnight process goes. Oatmeal is often recommended for heart health, but plain oatmeal doesn't automatically help your arteries. In some people, especially later in life, it doesn't give the body the signals it needs to truly settle circulation while you sleep. That's where small additions matter. Not supplements, not complicated recipes. Just specific foods that send clearer messages. Helping blood move more smoothly, vessels stay calmer, and overnight strain ease instead of build. What's surprising is that the most helpful add-ins aren't the ones everyone repeats online. They're quieter, less talked about, and often work better for older bodies. In this video, I'll show you 6 simple things you can add to your oatmeal, why each one works differently, and how to use them gently so your body responds instead of resists. If you've noticed mornings feel heavier than they should, and you want to support your arteries without fear or extremes, you're in the right place. Let's start with the first one. But before that, make sure to like and subscribe this channel. We made this channel so you can improve your health and have a healthy comeback. Addition 1. Psyllium Husk, the overnight flow stabilizer. The first thing you can add to your oatmeal is one most people overlook, and that's exactly why it can matter more as the body gets older. Psyllium Husk. Not as a remedy, not as a cleanse, but as a quiet stabilizer that works while you sleep. When oatmeal is eaten in the evening, the overnight goal isn't digestion, it's stability. Blood sugar, circulation pressure, and vessel tone are meant to stay even while the body rests. Psyllium supports that by slowing digestion just enough to prevent late-night swings that force arteries to keep adjusting. Those ups and downs aren't dramatic, but they matter. Small blood sugar shifts and pressure changes trigger repeated corrections in blood vessels. Over time, that constant reacting creates tension where you want calm. Psyllium helps reduce the need for those corrections. For many older adults, the payoff shows up in the morning. Legs feel lighter instead of heavy. Standing feels smoother, not abrupt. Circulation seems to come online without that tight, catching sensation. That's an artery effect, not a digestion trick. Because psyllium forms a soft gel, it works best in small amounts. About 2 teaspoons stirred into cooked oatmeal is enough to support steadiness without heaviness. More doesn't work better, and for sensitive digestion can feel uncomfortable. Used gently, psyllium doesn't push the body. It helps arteries stay calmer by keeping overnight conditions predictable. And for circulation after 70, predictability matters. Next, we'll look at an add-in that supports arteries from a completely different angle by helping blood vessels relax instead of staying tense through the night. Addition 2. Unsweetened cocoa powder, helping blood vessels let go at night. The next add-in works very differently from psyllium. Instead of stabilizing digestion, this one focuses on how relaxed your blood vessels stay while you sleep. Unsweetened cocoa powder, not chocolate, not sugar, and not a dessert. Pure cocoa contains natural compounds that help blood vessels release tension instead of staying slightly contracted overnight. That matters because many circulation issues after 70 aren't caused by blockage alone, but by vessels that remain tight longer than they should. During the day, some tension is normal. At night, it's not. When vessels don't fully relax, circulation becomes less efficient. Blood has to push harder, pressure fluctuates, and the system never fully settles. Cocoa supports a different signal, one that tells vessels it's safe to soften. People who respond well to cocoa often notice subtle changes the next morning. Hands feel warmer, legs feel less stiff. The body feels more open instead of braced. This isn't stimulation, and it's not a sudden effect, it's the absence of strain. The key is using unsweetened cocoa only, and in a small amount, about a teaspoon mixed into warm oatmeal. Sweetened cocoa mixes don't work the same way and often do the opposite overnight. For older bodies, this gentle relaxation signal can be especially helpful because vessels tend to stay guarded longer with age. Psyllium helps conditions stay steady. Cocoa helps vessels release tension. And those two signals together create a calmer environment for circulation while you sleep. Next, we'll look at another add-in that supports arteries in a different way by helping them stay flexible instead of rigid as the body rests. Addition 3. Pumpkin seeds ground, helping vessels bend instead of resist. This next add-in supports circulation in a quieter but very important way. Not by speeding blood flow, not by relaxing vessels, but by helping them bend and adjust instead of resisting movement. As we get older, many circulation issues don't come from narrowing alone, they come from stiffness. Blood vessels still open and close, but they don't respond as smoothly. They hesitate. They resist pressure changes instead of adapting to them. That resistance is what makes circulation feel heavy. Pumpkin seeds support flexibility in the vessel walls, the ability to adjust without strain. When vessels can respond easily, blood moves with less effort. When they're stiff, the body has to compensate. People who benefit from this often notice it during transitions. Standing up doesn't feel abrupt. Moving after rest feels less rigid. The body doesn't need as much warm-up before circulation feels comfortable. That's flexibility in action. Preparation matters here, especially at night. Whole pumpkin seeds can be difficult to digest and may create heaviness. Grinding them or using finely chopped seeds makes them much gentler and allows the body to use them without extra work. About 1 teaspoon mixed into oatmeal is enough to send the signal. This isn't about adding texture or nutrition. It's about helping vessels respond instead of resist. When blood vessels can bend quietly overnight, the body doesn't have to push as hard in the morning, and circulation starts the day feeling lighter, not strained. Next, we'll look at an add-in that supports circulation in a different way by encouraging gentle movement instead of overnight stagnation. Addition 4. Ginger powder, encouraging gentle movement overnight. This next add-in supports circulation from a very practical angle. Instead of focusing on steadiness or flexibility, it helps prevent overnight stagnation, that heavy, slow feeling that builds when circulation doesn't quite keep moving during long periods of rest. Ginger powder. Used gently, ginger sends a mild warming signal that encourages blood to keep moving smoothly without stimulation or strain. This matters at night because circulation naturally slows during sleep. For some older adults, it slows a little too much. When that happens, blood can linger instead of flowing evenly. The result isn't pain, it's stiffness. Legs feel heavier in the morning. Joints take longer to loosen. The body feels like it needs time to get going. Ginger helps reduce that lag. People who respond well often notice that mornings feel less rigid. Movement starts sooner. The body warms up with less effort. This isn't because ginger speeds anything up, it's because it helps circulation stay gently active instead of settling too deeply into stillness. The key is keeping the amount small. About 1/2 teaspoon of ginger powder mixed into oatmeal is enough. More can feel stimulating, which isn't what we want at night. Used this way, ginger doesn't wake the body up. It helps the body avoid getting stuck. When circulation keeps moving quietly overnight, the morning transition feels smoother and the body doesn't have to work as hard to regain comfort. Next, we'll look at an add-in that supports arteries by helping the body handle fats and energy more calmly while you sleep. Addition 5. Unsweetened almond butter, reducing overnight reactivity. This next add-in works in a quieter way, and that's exactly why it belongs here. Instead of changing how blood moves or how vessels relax, it helps reduce how reactive the system becomes overnight. Unsweetened almond butter. At night, the body shifts into a slower rhythm. Digestion slows. Energy demand drops. For many older adults, that transition isn't always smooth. When it's uneven, blood sugar and circulation have to keep correcting themselves, and that creates unnecessary strain on blood vessels. A very small amount of almond butter helps soften that transition. This isn't about eating fat before bed, and it's not about adding richness or calories. It's about giving the body a steadier signal so it doesn't have to over-adjust while you sleep. When this works well, people don't usually feel something dramatic. Instead, they don't feel certain things the next day. Less post-meal heaviness. Less of that subtle, drained feeling after breakfast. Fewer energy dips that make circulation feel sluggish. That's because the system didn't spend the night correcting imbalances. The amount matters here. About E to 1 teaspoon of unsweetened almond butter stirred into oatmeal is enough. Sweetened versions work against this effect and often create more overnight reactivity instead of less. This add-in isn't meant to stand out. It's meant to stay out of the way. By helping the body handle fats and energy more calmly overnight, almond butter reduces the background strain that arteries quietly carry, so they don't have to work harder than necessary the next day. Next, we'll look at the final add-in, one that focuses on protecting blood vessels from daily wear, rather than changing how they move or process energy. Addition 6. Pomegranate powder, reducing daily wear on arteries. The final add-in doesn't focus on how blood moves overnight. It focuses on what arteries carry forward from one day to the next. Pomegranate powder. Everyday blood vessels deal with repeated stress, meals, pressure changes, movement, and emotional strain. Over time, it's not one big event that matters most, it's the accumulation. When that daily wear isn't buffered, arteries become more sensitive and less forgiving. That's where pomegranate fits. Rather than changing circulation speed or relaxation, it supports the vessel lining's ability to tolerate stress without overreacting. When that lining is protected, arteries don't tighten as easily and don't stay irritated as long. People rarely feel this working, and that's the point. What they often notice instead is what doesn't happen over time. Fewer days where circulation feels off for no clear reason. Less sensitivity to small disruptions. Mornings that feel more consistent rather than unpredictable. That's not overnight improvement, that's reduced accumulation. Because pomegranate is concentrated, the amount matters. About ½ teaspoon of powder mixed into oatmeal is enough to provide protection without irritating digestion. Larger amounts can feel too acidic or heavy at night, which works against recovery. This add-in isn't about fixing anything. It's about slowing what would otherwise quietly worsen. Used consistently, pomegranate acts like insurance, helping arteries absorb daily stress so they don't carry it forward. And that makes everything else you're doing work better, longer. Nothing in this video was about forcing change, clearing anything out, or trying to fix arteries overnight. Aging arteries don't respond well to pressure, they respond to conditions. Each add-in you've seen plays a different role in shaping those conditions while you sleep. Psyllium helps keep things steady so arteries don't have to keep correcting. Cocoa helps vessels let go of unnecessary tension at night. Pumpkin seeds support flexibility so circulation doesn't meet resistance. Ginger encourages gentle movement so blood doesn't stagnate during long rest. Almond butter reduces overnight reactivity so the system doesn't over-adjust. Pomegranate helps protect arteries from the wear that quietly adds up each day. None of these work by themselves as a solution, and you don't need all of them at once. What matters most is the message they send together: calm, consistency, and support. For many people over 70, the biggest improvement doesn't come from doing more. It comes from reducing the strain the body carries from one night into the next. When arteries aren't constantly reacting, mornings feel smoother, movement feels easier, and circulation feels less fragile over time. If there's one takeaway to hold on to, it's this: small, thoughtful changes done consistently often matter more than big efforts done occasionally. If one of these add-ins stood out to you, or if you've noticed changes in how your body feels overnight, leave a comment below. We're building a community here for strong comebacks, so subscribe, hit the bell icon. You don't want to miss what's coming next. If this was helpful and you want to support the effort behind it, give this video a like and share it with someone you love. Join me in the next video. I've got more surprises waiting for you.